Hello and welcome. You're watching Eye on Africa here on France 24. I'm Clarisse Fortuné and we start with the headlines. 3 days of national mourning have been declared in Central African Republic after a transformer explosion and a stampede claimed the lives of at least 29 students while they were sitting for their end-of-year exams. Hunted down, dumped in the middle of the desert without food or water. A documentary highlights the situation of sub-Saharan migrants in Tunisia. One of the filmmakers is with us tonight. And we'll also meet Semia Garbi. She's a scientist who fought against waste trafficking schemes. She was recently awarded the Goldman Environmental Prize, often called the Green Nobel Prize. 3 days of national mourning have been declared in the Central African Republic after a terrible incident that claimed the lives of at least 29 students. The explosion occurred on Wednesday at the Barthélemy Boganda High School in Bangui, when power was being restored to an electrical transformer on the school premises. Most of the victims died at the scene as the explosion resulted in a stampede. Emily Ball has the story.
Scenes of chaos and suffering brought in by ambulance, by car or even carried. This hospital of Bangui is flooded with seriously wounded students. A stampede created by the explosion of a power transformer has wounded hundreds of students and killed at least 29.
We were in the exam room when electricity sparks started flying. There was panic. The teachers fled, so we wanted to escape too. But there was no exit. We were forced to jump from the second and third floors. I have 2 fractures in my leg and a fractured pelvis. For some, it's even worse. Some of them died.
Gathered outside the school, worried parents waited for their children. When the explosion happened, more than 5,300 students were sitting their final high school exams. Following the accident, the country is still in shock.
En cette circonstance particulièrement douloureuse,
in these particularly painful circumstances, I would like to express my solidarity and compassion to the parents of the deceased candidates, the teaching staff, the students, and offer them my deepest and most heartfelt condolences.
The president announced 3 days of national mourning. A judicial inquiry is planned to determine the circumstances of the tragedy and find those responsible.
Kenya is still reeling from what Kenyans called Black Wednesday. 16 people were killed and over 400 injured as people took to the streets across the country to mark the 1-year anniversary of anti-government demonstrations. Our correspondent Olivia Bizot gives us the latest from Nairobi.
The scale of the devastation is evident on the front pages of today's local newspapers. The Daily Nation has labelled it Black Wednesday. The Standard leads with Rogue Regime, and this Swahili paper reads Enzi za Giza, which in Swahili means dark times. Images circulating on social media show the extent of destruction following the demonstrations. Many shops have been looted, buildings destroyed, and business owners accounting very heavy losses. It was an extremely violent day. Rights groups say 16 people were killed, mostly by the police, 400 people were injured, and 61 arrested. On Thursday afternoon, Kenya's Interior Minister defended the police response. He said that the protests were terrorism and that they amounted to an attempted coup. But demonstrators insist they were marching peacefully. They are angry about the police's use of violence and say the destruction was caused by state-sponsored groups used to delegitimize the movement. When I spoke to protesters on Wednesday, they said they want Ruto to go, they want justice and an end to police brutality. So what will happen next? Well, it's unclear what form the demonstrations will take in the coming weeks, but one thing is sure. The anger is deeply rooted and will definitely not disappear overnight. It's likely the next big moment will come on July the 7th, a symbolic day here in Kenya. On that day in 1990, Kenyans marched for multi-party democracy and free elections.
2 years ago, Tunisian President Kais Saied made waves when he suggested that the arrival of sub-Saharan migrants was part of a plot to weaken the country's identity. Today, between 20,000 and 30,000 migrants are today living in makeshift camps in dire conditions. A documentary filmed in a country reveals blatant human rights violations. So to talk about this tonight, we have Davide Mattei. He's a co-director of a 26-minute report on this subject. Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. So first, tell us, how did you go about making this film?
I mean, it was very challenging, it was very difficult. There's no more press freedom in Tunisia, we have to say. Kais Saied seized all the powers, so we decided to do it undercover. We decided to go there posing as tourists. We went there 3 times. And then we sneak in migrant camps. We went to the port where we discovered that they put people on buses to dump them in the desert. We went to the desert, we spoke with migrants who were dumped. And yes, it was complicated. We have tense moments. My colleague, that is not here, Julien Goudichot, tonight, he was even arrested. He spent like an evening at the police station, and he signed a very strange paper. He had to write that he didn't speak with black migrants because it's illegal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that they get arrested. That's mentioned in your report. So what happens once they're arrested? We go in a bus, and then what?
The migrants.
Yes.
Yeah, the migrants who are caught in the sea, they are brought to port, to Sfax, and we discovered that they put them in a bus, in a very normal city bus. They're handcuffed. They sit on the ground, not to be seen, and then by night, basically, they take these people. They cross all Tunisia to the Algerian border, and they drop them in the desert, like women, kids, men, young, older people. Like they're dropped in the desert
Without food nor water. And so one of the strong characters from your film is this young medical student from Sierra Leone. He tried to create some makeshift hospitals, and I mean, what we can call that hospitals. Let's have a look.
Dans son téléphone, Ibrahim conserve des photos et des vidéos des cas les plus graves.
It's a lady, the police. That's when they come, they want to break the place. They use bullets on her. I'm the one that just removed it the other day because I made the bullet inside her skin. I removed the bullet.
Une violence pour rendre intenable la vie des exilés en Tunisie.
Tell us a bit more about him and how is he doing today?
Well, not very well. The police destroyed like the 3rd hospital. At the end of the reportage, we saw one of his hospital, as you say, like makeshift hospital, destroyed, and he created another one like 1 kilometer away, and then 2 days ago, the police came and burned it down. So he's kind of desperate, and I mean, he's not doing well at all because it's a very important character. He's trying to help. Imagine 20,000 people with no access to food, water, or humanitarian aid. Not at all. There is nothing. So through crowdfunding, you could get some money, buy some medicine, and treat some people. I mean, we filmed ourselves. A lady was giving birth there, and he helped more than 100 ladies to give birth, but on the ground in this hospital. So nowadays, it's very sad and very touched by that.
And and also he was very young, being a migrant himself. So you also talked to the European Commissioner for the Mediterranean, Dubraka Đurđica, and this is her reaction.
If we are not there, who will be there? If European Union is not there, then there is China, there is Russia.
So this is the price to pay for you?
It will be even worse without us. So without us, it will be even worse. And this is the reason why we want to put the house in order.
This kind of violation, I mean, people dumped in the desert.
I understand.
So,
I understand.
Why don't you say, Mr. Saied, you should change this violation, otherwise we won't give you any money, not even,
Okay, give me some time. It will be settled.
So any update after that discussion?
She had some time, but I think the European Commission is continuing to going towards another another way not to ask Syed to respect human rights, but actually they just defined a list of safe country of origins, and Tunisia is in this list. This list has to be confirmed next month, but what's the idea? Tunisia is a safe country. This is a reward for Syed. I read it like this, at least. And this means that all the blatant violation of human rights are cleaned. Tunisia will be a safe country for Tunisia. So I think the commissioner, for the moment, is not going in that direction.
It's a bit like being a bit of in denial. And also we need to note that any Tunisian trying to help just by bringing a cup of water could spend time in jail.
Yeah, definitely. It's like this. They told us about people that they just have, for example, a tap, like tap of running water in their garden, and migrants coming back from the desert just passing by. So they use it to drink, and the police came and said, okay, whether you close it or whether you go to jail. So this is what is happening today in Tunisia. Everybody who's helping migrant they run and they try to stop it in any way. And the migrant situation is a taboo. A few days ago, there was a report from an NGO in Tunisia who said that dozens of dead bodies arrived to the shore from Madi and Sfax from June the 9th to a few days ago. Dozens. There was no news in Tunisian media, nothing at all, not even on social media. This means that
it's a blackout.
It's a blackout. Tunisian government is trying to erase the migrant problem while is continuing to persecute them and do these horrible violations.
Thank you very much, Davide Mattei. I hope everyone can watch this dire situation in Tunisia. But we do have some much better news from Tunisia. Simia Garbis, she's a scientist and educator. She was recently awarded the Goldman Environmental Prize, often called the Green Nobel Prize for environmental activists. Garbi has been active in ecological protection efforts from a young age, having learned from her mother, and now she fights to protect her country's environment. Lilia Blaise and Handi Tilly went to meet her.
Thank you so much.
In Tekelsa, part of Tunisia's Cap Bon region, Samia Gharbi has been working with other women for a year to promote environmentally friendly agriculture. Samia has been awarded the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize for her work against corrupt government officials. But the environmental science teacher is equally at home here with her hands in the soil, training people in organic farming.
They realized that there was a lot of damage to the soil with conventional agriculture. So now they're getting involved. They're really resisting and creating change, even within their community, to attract others to these agroecological practices.
After only a year on the project, about 25 farmers in the region want to adopt this model, which uses animal-powered plowing, drip irrigation, and zero pesticides.
I realize that most cancer-related diseases come from what we eat, and so for me it's important to go back to the type of agriculture of our ancestors. It works. We see it with our own eyes.
Samia sees grassroots efforts like this as her most important work. But now with the Goldman Prize, she has won international recognition for her campaign against the illegal trafficking of household waste from Italy to Tunisia. After 3 years of pressure from her and other NGOs, over 40 Tunisian and Italian officials implicated in the scandal were arrested, and the trash was sent back to Italy. Samia isn't stopping there.
When we see negative environmental indicators, it means there's still a lot more work to be done. So we can raise awareness in the short term, but raising awareness in a lasting way, that's another job.
With an organization she founded in 2011, one of Samia's biggest missions is raising environmental awareness among future generations. It's a long-term effort in a country that faces a huge fight against pollution.
And that's all from Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.
France 24, a different point of view.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.